Every single accident that has ever destroyed a life, collapsed a bridge, crashed a plane, ended a marriage, ruined a business, or broken a human body had something in common. And that one thing was not bad luck, it was not fate, and it was absolutely not something that came without warning. Because before every disaster, before the explosion, before the diagnosis, before the crash, before the moment everything fell apart, there were signs, quiet and persistent, knocking on the door of someone's awareness, begging to be noticed, whispering the truth that no one wanted to hear. And the most heartbreaking reality about almost every tragedy in human history is not that the warning signs were invisible, it is that they were perfectly visible, completely real, and entirely ignored. Now, stay with me, because what I am about to share with you today is not just a story about accidents. It is a profound lesson about human psychology, about how our minds are wired to dismiss discomfort, how our cultures teach us to normalize dysfunction, and how the single most dangerous sentence in the world is not, "I don't know," it is, "It's probably nothing." Think about this very carefully for a moment. When a person feels a strange pain in their chest and thinks, "I'm just stressed," when an engineer notices a small crack in a pipeline and tells himself, "It's been like that for years," when a wife notices her husband becoming distant and silent and convinces herself he's just busy with work, when a pilot hears a faint mechanical sound and decides to log it after the flight, when a parent sees their child withdrawing completely from friends and family and says, "It's just a phase." In all of these moments, in every single one of them, the warning sign was present, the signal was real, the alarm was ringing, but what happened inside the human mind was something deeply fascinating and deeply dangerous, because the human brain does not respond to gradual change the way it responds to sudden crisis. Our brains are wired for dramatic, fast, loud threats, the kind our ancestors faced on the African savanna, the kind that required us to run or fight in a single second. But the modern world kills us slowly and softly, through whispers rather than screams, through patterns rather than explosions, and our brains are spectacularly unprepared for that kind of danger. There is actually a well-documented psychological phenomenon called normalization of deviance, a term coined by sociologist Diane Vaughan after studying the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. And what she discovered was both simple and devastating. Over time, when something slightly wrong happens and nothing immediately terrible follows, the human mind begins to redefine that slightly wrong thing as acceptable, as normal, as just the way things are. And this process happens slowly, invisibly, and completely without our conscious awareness, so that by the time the real disaster arrives, we are not just unprepared, we are actually surprised, even though every single piece of evidence was already in front of us for months or even years. Let me walk you through one of the most powerful and tragic examples of this in modern history, the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster of January 28, 1986, a morning when millions of Americans watched live on television as the shuttle broke apart just 73 seconds after launch, killing all 7 crew members on board, including a school teacher named Krista McCullough, who had been selected to be the first civilian in space. And the world was devastated, shocked, and completely disbelieving. But here is the truth that makes this tragedy even more unbearable. The engineers at NASA and at Morton Thiokol, the company that built the solid rocket boosters, had been raising serious concerns about the O-ring seals in cold temperatures for months before that launch. One engineer named Roger Bajoli had written an internal memo almost 6 months before the disaster, explicitly warning that the O-rings could fail in cold weather and that the results could be catastrophic loss of crew and vehicle. And he used those exact words, catastrophic loss of crew and vehicle. But the launch went ahead anyway, on the coldest morning in shuttle history, because the warnings had been seen before. The O-rings had shown signs of stress in previous flights, and nothing terrible had happened yet. And so the human mind did what it always does. It normalized the deviance, it filed the warning under manageable risk, it told itself that the pattern of survival meant the risk was acceptable, and 7 people died not because no one saw the warning signs, but because the warning signs had been seen so many times that they no longer felt like warnings. Now, this is not just about NASA, this is not just about engineering, because this exact same psychological pattern destroys marriages every single day. A couple begins with love and connection, then small conflicts start appearing. Then one partner stops sharing their feelings, and the other stops asking. Then they sleep on opposite sides of the bed, not just physically, but emotionally. Then weeks pass without a real conversation, then months, and both of them are seeing the warning signs. Both of them feel the growing distance, but both of them are telling themselves the same lie. We're just going through a rough patch. All couples go through this. It'll get better on its own. And the relationship does not get better on its own, because warning signs in relationships, just like warning signs in machines, in bodies, and in organizations, do not disappear when ignored. They grow, they deepen, they spread, and eventually they become the catastrophe that everyone pretends came out of nowhere. And this same pattern plays out in human health, where a person ignores fatigue for months, telling themselves they need more sleep, ignores persistent headaches, telling themselves it's dehydration, ignores the small lump they felt one morning in the shower because feeling it again would make it real, ignores the shortness of breath on stairs because they've been meaning to get back to the gym. And then one day, they are sitting in a doctor's office hearing a diagnosis that the doctor then says was likely developing for years, and the person wonders how they could have missed it. But they did not miss it. They saw it, they felt it, and they chose the comfort of not knowing over the discomfort of finding out. So why do we do this? Why does the human mind, which is extraordinarily powerful and capable of incredible things, consistently fail to act on warning signs? And the answer lies in 3 deeply rooted psychological forces that are working against us every single day. The first force is called optimism bias, which is the scientifically proven tendency of humans to believe that bad things are more likely to happen to other people than to themselves. We know that car accidents happen, but we believe we are better drivers than average. We know that businesses fail, but we believe our business is different. We know that relationships end, but we believe ours is stronger. And this optimism is not stupidity, it is actually a survival mechanism that keeps us moving forward through life rather than paralyzed by fear. But when it causes us to dismiss legitimate warning signs as things that only happen to other people, it becomes lethal. The second force is something psychologists call the cost of action versus the cost of inaction. When we see a warning sign and consider acting on it, our minds immediately calculate the price of action, the money, the time, the effort, the embarrassment, the disruption, the admission that something is wrong, and compare it against the price of inaction, which in that moment feels like zero because the disaster has not happened yet and may never happen, and our brains, which evolved to conserve energy and avoid unnecessary effort, reliably choose inaction when the threat is not immediately present. The third and most powerful force is something I want you to really sit with. It is the social pressure to not be the person who overreacts, the person who raises the alarm, the person who causes disruption by pointing out what everyone else is trying not to see. Because in almost every situation where warning signs were ignored, there was at least one person who saw them clearly and wanted to speak up, but looked around at the group, saw everyone else acting as though things were fine, and stayed silent. Because social belonging is one of the deepest human needs, and threatening it by being the person who says something is wrong here feels more dangerous in the moment than the abstract future disaster itself. So what do we actually do with this knowledge? How do we protect ourselves, our families, our organizations, our bodies from the silent disasters that are always preceded by warning signs we've been trained to ignore? And I want to give you something genuinely useful here, not just awareness, but action. The first thing is to create a personal rule that you take the first warning sign seriously, not the second, not the third, not after you've seen it 5 times. The first time your body feels something wrong, the first time a relationship feels cold, the first time a financial situation feels unstable, the first time an employee or colleague raises a concern, you treat that first signal as real. You investigate it. You do not wait for it to repeat itself, because the repetition of warning signs is not evidence that the problem is manageable, it is evidence that the problem is growing. The second thing is to build what I call a personal board of honest witnesses. These are 2 or 3 people in your life who have permission, who have actually been explicitly asked to tell you the truth when they see something you might be normalizing. Because one of the most reliable ways to overcome our own blind spots is to invite other eyes that are not subject to our own optimism bias and our own investment in things being okay. And the third thing, the most powerful thing, is to practice what I call scheduled honest auditing. Once every month, sit down alone with the journal and ask yourself one question with complete honesty. What warning sign am I currently ignoring? And you will be surprised every single time how quickly an answer comes, because somewhere in your mind you already know what it is. You are already aware of the thing you have been choosing not to look at directly. And giving yourself structured permission to look at it is often the only thing needed to begin acting on it. I want to leave you with this thought, and I want you to carry it with you because it has the power to genuinely save your life or the life of someone you love. The warning signs were always there before the accident, always, without a single exception in all of recorded human history. And the people who got hurt were almost never the people who did not see the signs. They were the people who saw them and decided that the discomfort of acting was greater than the danger of waiting. And by the time they knew they were wrong about that, it was too late to go back. You are watching this video right now, in this moment, which means you have something that no one gets to have after the disaster. You have time, you have awareness, and you have the opportunity to look at the quiet signals in your own life with honesty and courage before they become the catastrophe you will spend years trying to recover from. The warning signs are not your enemy. They are the most compassionate thing the universe offers you, a chance to change direction before you run out of road. Please do not wait for the accident to take them seriously. Please start today. If this video made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more deep, honest conversations about the things that actually matter.